Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are what?
On Tech Today this week, digital. That's right, it's no secret that the IPL media rights have been sold, and digital is as important, if not more, than the television viewing rights for the mega tournament. We get to the bottom of that on the show and find out where you watch your sports content. Is it on TV? Is it on digital? Not only that, we're also discussing what this new product from Xiaomi is all about. Look at the box, and if I cover the brand, it looks exactly like an iPad. But this is the Xiaomi Pad 5, and this one is quite special. Is this the Android version of the iPad? All that and a lot more on this special episode of Tech Today. It's a fascinating story because Viacom18 has bagged the digital streaming rights for the IPL for the next few years, and Star, the original or the incumbent company, is now only going to be broadcasting those matches on TV. Is this a game changer? Because these rights for digital streaming have cost more than the television viewing rights. Now, we're going to come to you for a ground report and understand what your content consumption habits are like. Do you watch it on an app? Do you prefer watching it on television? But before we do that, we got to have a conversation with the experts. I'm joined by Harish Bijur and Tarun Pathak on Tech Today. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. Harish, I want to start off by asking you, you've been tracking this space for a while. How are you viewing these developments? We've had some time to digest this information. When we've spoken before, digital was always about the potential and this future technology that's going to change everything. Now with these numbers and the digital media rights selling for more than the TV viewing rights, these numbers really tell another story. More viewers, more money, and it's not just for sports media. This digital domination could be a sign of a storm coming the way of the media in general.
Absolutely. If you really look at it, I would say that this media rights sale auction that has happened represents the coming of age of all broadcast media rights in India. And as a subset of that, in fact, a superset of that, is the coming of age of all digital media sports rights coming of age in India. Because, it's all about the numbers. It's about saying that, hey, if an X amount has been spent on it, maybe 51% of it is with digital and maybe 49 is with physical media. So there's a division of the world today in broadcast terms, in terms of sports broadcast for now, and eventually in all broadcast in the future. There's going to be the physical yin and the digital yang, and the digital yang is going to go deeper and wider than the physical yin. And that's going to be a true blue representation of the future, because there are two Indias emerging, just as there are two worlds emerging. One India is the one which is in home, which is static, and the other is out of home and on the go. And therefore, on the go, out of home is really the digital audience. Yes, you have to add in-home OTT to it as well. But what's really happening is India is getting redefined as on-the-go India, digital, and rest of India, physical.
Fantastic, Harish. Everyone talks about the revenue coming from subscriptions and adverts right now, and how TV currently has nearly 65% of the pie. That's what our data suggests as well. The rest is with digital. But based on projections and how trends will change in the coming years, the IPL's digital viewership is going to overtake TV in the next few years, and the tables would have turned completely in 5 years, with digital getting the lion's share. Clearly, that's why the big bucks are being spent here, Harish. Tarun, how are you viewing these developments, especially from a tech perspective? There's clearly a strong technology play here as well.
Yeah, I think definitely a strong technology play here. I think very nicely explained by Harish. I would like to add one more India to it, the India that will come onto the internet for the very first time in the next 5 years. So if you look at some sort of the data, every year around 60 million users embrace internet for the first time. So you look at another India that will be using our internet for the first time, and that's a huge potential. From the technology perspective, I think valuations are one side, but these companies are looking is more into the future, because the OTT of today or digital of today will not be the same as digital 5 years down the line. we are at the cusp of technology transition. 5G will be here. We have seen about the auctions yesterday, and that will completely transform the game, because the way you look at OTT today will not be the way you will be looking at 3 years or 4 years down the line. It will be completely disrupted in that sense.
Tarun, you understand the telecom space really well. And of course, Jio calls itself a tech company now. But what does this mean for Jio subscribers? Can we expect a massive increase in them now, the way it happened with Hotstar years ago? Can we also expect some sort of bundling? Because that's something which hasn't worked in India until now.
Definitely, I think bundling is a way forward. If you look at from the telcos perspective, I think they have missed that thing in the 4G side of things. It was just a pipe, and then they offered services, and there are a lot of companies that came into that. In the 5G transition, I think the operators will be very, very careful on that. I think they will try to control as many pieces of the ecosystem together. And I think bundling is one important point that will bring in a lot of stickiness. If you are an operator like Jio and you are handling around 400 million or 500 million in future subscribers, you need to bring in some kind of stickiness, because again, the point of valuations always we look into number of users and subscribers, but the stickiness is one segment or one criteria which everyone needs to pay very close attention to, because you are going to have certain users who are willing to pay you a recurring revenue on your services. So I think in that sense, I think bundling is the way forward for an operator like Jio going forward, and we see a very strong content play being at the center of this entire bundling strategy.
Right, Harish, it's kind of interesting because you've been tracking this space for a while, and the media rights auctions over the years for a tournament as big as the IPL. Now, this has surpassed the EPL, a football league that I'm a huge fan of. That's how big and how fast this league has grown. When we talk about digital rights, maybe in the first such auction, things have changed a lot. Viacom 18 bagging it for nearly 23,758 crores. A similar figure for Star India for television rights, 23,575 crores. But I want to get your thoughts on how this could be a game changer for the app that Viacom 18 or the Jio ecosystem of things uses, which could be Voot, or do you think it would be another app? What are your thoughts in terms of how this could be a watershed moment? Because years ago, this was a game changer for Hotstar.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Hotstar was made on the basis of its IPL bid. And, the worry would be, is Hotstar going to be unmade on the basis of this IPL non-bid or a non-win? So that's going to be an issue. And Voot, I do believe, is going to be seeing a lot of traction. If I was to advise them, free advice without a bill sent to the client, I would say go behind Voot, run behind Voot. Do not try to create a new one. You already have spent enough creating traction on Voot. And this is Voot's moment in the sun. Because, Voot will deepen. If you look at 23 to 24 period of this bid, it's 74 matches. That deepens to 84 matches between 23 and 26. That deepens into 94 matches, possibly in 27. All these 94 matches provide terrific content to really push through and get a lot out of this bid. And this bid, historic for sure. If you're talking about, even at a conservative level, 107.5 crore, you're talking comparing it to an NFL of 133 crores. That's not too far away. Another 25 crores. We're getting there. Wait for the next bid. And NFL is going to see a bit of an upset. That's cricket besottedness. That's the cricket religion in India. And that's the success of IPL as a format.
Tarun, it's interesting what Harish said about Voot. Now, this is a question we're asking a lot of people in terms of where they watch their sports content. But given the IPL is going to be Viacom 18, does it make sense for them to put it on an app like Voot, which they've been building on for a while, or come up with a new app altogether? Also, what does this mean in terms of immersive experiences that can be made possible technologically in a Web3 world? With 5G, low latency networks, this could be a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. I think, again, to agree to Harish, I don't think they need to create a new app. I think the future is very different. So what they need to do is optimize the experience within the app. So for example, we are looking at a time frame of 2023 to 2027, and we are at the cusp of a digital transformation with the 5G. So what will happen if you look at the devices of today? They are going to transform in a big way going forward. For example, the penetration of foldable devices right now is in a single digit, but 5 years down the line, they might be just 50% of the total smartphones you are using. So what companies like these, they need to think of optimizing the entire app experience. So maybe in future, if I have to watch a cricket match on an app like Woot, I would like to watch it in a very immersive experience. So for example, a particular cricket player has taken a catch, let's say, for example, and I would like to see in a very different way or in a different direction. So that's an experience for me. I think they need to optimize it and think of apps experience from that perspective rather than creating a new app and work it entirely from that perspective.
Well, it looks like the experts have spoken, but what is Tech Today without the Tech Today community? We want to come to you now and find out, where do you watch your sports content? Is it on a streaming app? Is it on TV? I, for one, since the start of the pandemic, haven't watched on a television set-top box. I watch everything on the go, on apps, on my iPad, on my phone, and even on my smart TV. But what's it like for you? This is an interesting survey. Shivan is coming to you for all the answers.
So in India, if 10 people are watching sports, 9 out of those 10 people are watching cricket. Cricket, everybody knows what it means to people in India. We're out here to essentially find out, are people preferring to watch cricket or their favorite sport on television via broadcast mediums, or they'd rather watch it on an app on the go? Let's figure out, because in times to come, this is going to really change the entire scenario in India on how we consume content online or via broadcast mediums. Which platform do you watch on? Like, is it on television? Do you prefer watching it on your phone?
I watch it on OTT. It's a 2020, then it's a 3.5 hour game. So I almost consume 3.5 hours on my mobile phone.
Right.
Usually I watch on Hotstar. I think Hotstar is the platform.
It's not just convenience. I think it's probably because, you are getting the content right on the go. And for TV, you have to sit down, switch on the TV, and you would have to find the right place, because if you're living with a lot of people in your family, you might not get in that vibe to watch the TV.
The main problem with streaming apps is the internet connectivity. At times it may or may not be good. And television, same, we can't carry it everywhere.
Right now, do you have a set-top box at home, or do you just stick to the app?
I have a set-top box.
How much of use is it to you?
Not much. Like I don't watch TV that much now.
Any issues that you find with the set-top box? Like when it starts raining, or there are...
Yeah, there are issues sometimes, especially. But it's once a while really, so you always have an option. It just takes 2 minutes. If you feel the match is interesting, you can flip, you can easily go back to your app also, so there's no issue.
Earlier, I used to watch a lot of sports on TV for obvious reasons, but now since I've had a smartphone, or since internet is more accessible in that sense, so of course I shifted to online.
So overall, the sense that we've got from a lot of people is that people have mostly shifted to digital platforms for consuming cricket as content or any other sport as content. What I feel is there is still a generation which is still stuck to, okay, humne TV on kiya and we will watch it there. My parents belong to that generation. Even when I'm at home, I may end up watching television with them, but as a personal choice, I'm mostly watching it on digital apps. Going forward, if this is to be considered as a trend-setting synopsis of Bytes, I would say in times to come, I think digital will only gain more and more momentum as far as online content is concerned. Back to you, Ayush. But I feel this is something we need to continue further and get to know more from people.
Now that's an interesting revelation on Tech Today, a true ground report which tells us that all of y'all, most of y'all, choose to watch your sports content on OTT or streaming apps and have ditched, well, the traditional set-top box for it. Cable TV for the next 5 years. Where's it headed? The future is digital, and that explains why the big bucks are being spent there. Now, for the second half of the show, if you don't want to spend the big bucks, then this, I'm giving you a spoiler alert, is an inexpensive option, and maybe it's an iPad contender, but from the Android world. All that and a lot more on the second half of this show. See you soon.
India Today TV wins big at NT Awards 2022. Bags 14 most coveted awards. TV news presenter male Rahul Kanwal. Business news anchor female Abha Bakaya. Best news debate show News Track. Best talk show To the Point. Daily news bulletin News Today. TV news reporter Ashutosh Mishra. Sports special Go for Gold. Best use of graphics by a news channel State of War 2021 elections. and many more. With 37 awards for the India Today group, the most credible network is also the most awarded. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching
OLX.
Food wastage is not just a social problem but an environmental one too. It is important to take concrete steps to ensure food wastage is avoided at all costs. Why we shouldn't waste food? When we waste food, we waste the labor, the effort, investment and precious resources. It also increases greenhouse gas emissions and contributes to climate change. What you can do? Reduce. Be more mindful of food you buy what you use and use it all. Improve food storage and reduce wastage at home. Reuse. If you don't eat everything you make, freeze it for later. Use the leftovers as an ingredient in another meal. Recycle. Recycle as much as possible, try composting and put nutrients back into the soil. You can also start your own green patch of fruits, vegetables or herbs. With these easy ways, you can reduce food wastage and become a food hero.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today.
India Today Group wins big again. Bags 37 awards at the NT Awards 2022. Aaj Tak triumphs with 18 awards. India Today TV with 12 awards. Aajtak.in and IndiaToday.in with 5 awards. And Good News Today with 2 awards. Making the group proud once again. India Today Group, the gold standard of journalism.
You are watching India Today.
Amid the violent protests over Agnipath, India Today has accessed shocking WhatsApp anarchy chats from Kanpur, revealing how Friday's violent protests are meticulously planned. A WhatsApp group named Boycott TOD, which is the short form of Tour of Duty, called to burn down a police station and also block a national highway. Here's more.
Nationwide furor over Agnipath. But who is fanning this fire? Is this just anger over Army's new recruitment scheme? Or are the rioters following a toolkit? India Today has accessed shocking WhatsApp anarchy chats from Kanpur that reveal how Friday's violence protests were meticulously planned. These are the chats that reveal a clear conspiracy. A WhatsApp group named Boycott TOD, short for Tour of Duty, calls to burn down a police station and block a national highway. This WhatsApp group brings to the fore a plot that was hatched and executed with the clear intent to disrupt law and order. These chats establish one thing: the anger over Agnipath is not just organic. And if this one WhatsApp group was created to mobilize violence in Kanpur, is a similar toolkit being used across the country? With Simar Chawla in Kanpur, Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, the raging controversy over Agnipath over this scheme for recruiting defence soldiers on contract across all three services, Army, Navy and Air Force, is gaining massive fire across the nation. But what exactly is this reform? Here's an explainer.
अग्निपथ योजना में भारतीय नौजवानों को बतौर अग्निवीर आर्म्ड फोर्सेस में सेवा का अवसर प्रदान किया जाएगा और यह योजना देश की सुरक्षा को मजबूत करने व हमारे युवाओं को मिलिट्री सर्विस का अवसर देने के लिए लाई गई है.
The government of India has unveiled the new defence recruitment reform, Agnipath. The scheme for recruiting defence soldiers on contract across all three services, Army, Navy and Air Force. The scheme is now applicable with immediate effect, and here's all what we know about it. It's a defence recruitment reform under which 45,000 to 50,000 soldiers will be recruited annually, with their term ending after just 4 years of service. The scheme further states that out of total recruits, only 1/4, which is 25% of Agniveers, will be allowed to continue for another 15 years under permanent commission. Another important fact is the age bar. Only the men and women between 17 and a half years to 21 years old could apply at first. But now, in a one-time waiver, Centre has increased the upper age limit from 21 to 23 years. Also, the scheme is only for personnel below officer ranks. With the scheme in effect, government is aiming to save big on defence pension bills, as India spends a large part of its defence budget on salaries, pensions and post-retirement benefits. India is not the first nation to bring such a reform for defence recruitment. The list of countries with such schemes includes China, the United States, France and Israel. Once recruited, the Agniveers will through a 6-month training program and then for the next 3.5 years serve the nation. During this period, they will get 30,000 rupees as starting salary, which will go up to 40,000 by the end of the 4-year service. In addition, 30% of their salary will be set aside under a Seva Nidhi program, and government will contribute an equal amount every month. The final amount then will accrue interest. In simple terms, it will be Agniveer's Employment Provident Fund. Other benefits include a health insurance cover worth 48 lakhs and a payout of over 1 crore rupees in case of on-duty death, along with the salary of unserved tenure. India is witnessing massive protest across the nation as aspirants are unhappy with the scheme. They feel taking away pension benefits provides them with no job security. The government has already taken a step and provided a waiver for age limit, but with the protest raging, the big question is, will the government be ready to make new adjustments?
Well, the government has tweaked that scheme at least thrice after these protests broke out. That brings us to the end of this edition. News continues in 2 minutes. Thanks for watching.
You are watching India Today.